Hey, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're at. I just want to say thank you very much for tuning in to Jim Becker Live. I want to let you know that it's been a great first quarter. A lot of great, interesting things going on. We did make an announcement that we did have a M&A activity end of year last year. We went through a merger and acquisition of Trek Freight Services. Great team, great people, great customers, and it's just great to have them as part of our whole whole, whole like entity. So it's great to have them. So I just want to let you know that today I wanted to really just talk to you about coaching your employees. As many large organizations are discovering the traditionally used command and controlled management style no longer really works in today's environment. The current environment calls for quick response, flexibility, resilience, leveraged creativity, individual effort, and performance. See, coaching is a key to retention. It really is. See, there was times that I remember looking back and I didn't talk to an employee or manager, I should say, for, 3 months. And you don't know what's going on in their world. When you are coaching people and you have your one-on-ones with them, you can really stay connected to what's going on in their life. You can communicate what's going on in your life and what's going on in the company. They can give you a look-see to what's actually happening, which is critical in any organization. It ensures that employees gain professional development and, of course, satisfaction. In return, it also helps to retain the most valued employees. Coaching employees in the workplace to performance, right? Rather than managing them, making them more committed to their work that they're actually working on. So why is coaching so critical now and in the future? Well, for organizations, change will be the norm moving forward. It really is. I mean, look at what we just went through with the whole COVID situation. Change is inevitable, right? And we are climbing a mountain that has no top. So if nothing changes, right? I'm sorry to be so cliche on all this, but likewise, team and organizational success will be dependent on individual resilience and their performance. See, the essence of coaching is that it leverages individual abilities and strengthens the maximum performance. See, coaching is critical because it provides just-in-time learning tailored to the particular situation. It also offers direct on-the-job learning. As I'm going through this, I'm just thinking, if you guys have any comments, concerns, just want to give a little shout out wherever you're at, please go ahead and do that in the comments. I really do appreciate that. Coaching really promotes behavioral change, which makes it easy for people and projects to move forward with ease. See, you teach someone a new skill, you coach someone into a new mindset. It's pretty interesting. Before this call, I was on with a great individual and newer employee, and someone that's been in this industry just as long as I. Matter of fact, about the same age. And going through his CRM, he already was trained through our onboarding process. He was already retrained with our training department. And now I came in and identified skills and assessment. Luckily, I had that ability of coaching him to see where he's at. And it allowed us to really identify that he needs a little bit more training. No problem. It's just getting used to something that's new, right? It's not, it's really pushing the boundaries on what we're used to. See, today business changes requires a shift, and it shifts into an entirely new model. See, who we were last year is completely different. Who we were 10 years ago, it's different. What this industry has turned out to be versus when I first got into it in 1990, 91, it's completely different. You have to pivot. You have to change in order to stay with these new models. See, the workforce coaching prepares employees for such shifts like this that are necessary to meet the changing business demands. As businesses change, environments change, you know, who would have thunk that Russia would have been in a war in 2022? And who would have thunk that a large power nation like Russia would still be sitting there and didn't take over a small little country? Really? Really? I'm sorry, but I'm kind of shocked by that. I'm happy too, because they shouldn't be taking over countries. So when we look at this, what's going on in the world? The world's changing. We have to change with it. Thus, managers and leaders must coach their employees. They need to be a stand for them to become career self-reliant. See, they should also encourage them to engage in continuous career development. This just leads to better organization, better communication. Everyone is tight-knit and feels like they are on the same page and invested into achieving the same goal. As we look at the vision, the mission, the objectives and goals and the strategy and the tactical, where are you at? And are we standing for our employees side by side to make sure that they're on the same page with us? Or are we waiting a whole year to realize that we're not even in the same book, yet alone the same page? See, coaching will allow us a glimpse into that, where they can hear what we need from leadership, and leadership can see where they're at. Are we going too fast? Are we going too slow? Do we need to go ahead and pivot? See, if your team doesn't have a deep understanding of the organizational goal, they'll just be a default to their personal goals. See, which would be a different employee and different for everyone. So are we just going to let the defaulted personal goals run the company, or are we really trying to get our goals that we've all bought into and signed and declared as our future vision that we're stepping into? See, also many times managers need to be coached on coaching, right? It just happens. It just happens like that. See, coaching is not some innate skill that we all have. We're not born with it. It takes practice to be able to do correctly. Sure, you may be able to coach in the style that works best for you. But what about coaching in a different way? Are we adaptable? Can we change? I believe we can. We all can. Is it for the best? Are we going in the right direction? Is, a good, I would say, sister of mine says better is better. And Marcia's right. It just is. Better is better. And we have to look at the different types of coaches. What type of coach are you? When it comes to coaching, I like to compare them based on the level of directness versus the level of empathy. See, no one type of coach is the best. Different people respond to different types, and different tasks will call for different types. I have 5 different coaches, I'm about to add a 6th, to really help me refine who I am as a leader. It just doesn't come naturally. For some, it may. It really may. See, every coach has a default, but the best coaches can go in and out of each one of these to get the best results. So let's take a look at coaching. Let's look at a coaching matrix. You have level of directness across the bottom and a level of empathy across the side. So when we look at this, then just to list them off, you'll have to have a compassionate coach with low directness and high empathy. The big picture coach has high directness and high empathy. See, the firm and explicit coach and the high directness and the low empathy and the logistics and systems coach at low directness and low empathy. So as you can see on the screen as I'm speaking, I've got a great staff that really helps and assists in these directions. And we kind of lay this all out before jumping on live with you. So they have a direction of the outline which I'm following. So when you look at this, where do you see yourself? Okay. So what does this all mean? I mean, how will you know what kind of a coach to be in any given situation? Well, let's break it down and let's take each one by one. See, the compassionate coach. The compassionate coach works best by facilitating a comfortable environment, which works best for basic introductions and training. See, you want to make sure that everyone is comfortable to ask questions and get all the information that they need. Also, the compassionate coach works well when a team member comes to you with a problem and needs to be heard. So this is also a great coaching type for the HR team as well. See, the big picture coach, a little different. The big picture coach works by inspiring, showing the grand scheme to motivate people onward. See, this type is good for when there is some huge task to take on and when the team needs to know exactly what it is that they are facing. I would say this type of best fits if you are training other managers, since they need to know the big picture of everything to effectively manage. Let's switch now to the firm and explicit coach. This type of coach, I guess, coaches by setting like a clear expectation and committing to firm deadlines. Like, when will that be done by? They'll be good for a lot of the day-to-day tasks. Not all tasks need some grand motivational speech in order to be done. And sometimes things just have to get done. Also, this type of is really good for when there's little room for interruption. You just need to have X done by Y. No fluff. The logistics and systems coach. This type of coach works by showing logical reasoning and establishes the process to ensure things are done. They are the best for coaching on complex tasks and processes that have many moving pieces or materials that is often frustrating. Can get frustrating. Trust me. This type of coach will also have a trove of standard operating procedures for their team, which can be especially useful. It really helps. And those are the 4 types of coaches. And I just want to remind you all that although I talked about when certain coaches are better for certain situations, it's important to remember that some people like a certain type of coach, no matter what the situation is. See, there are some people out there that will always respond best to firm and explicit coaching. They just need to get the orders and then go on. So as you coach, you need to make sure that you know your team well enough to be an efficient and effective coach. So before I move on, let me just see how things are going over here. Good evening from France. Parlez-vous français, bonjour? Next level of business, find the way to learning new skills. Yeah, there's 6 intelligent types out there. And learning new skills, if you know what your learning skill is, fantastic. You really want to home in on those, right? So some people are kinesthetic, right? They feel certain thing, right? I can feel the embroidering on my shirt. I can feel the cloth. I can feel the metal on the zipper. I can hear the zipper, so we can hear things. I talked about logical. Some of us are logical. We have that logical thinking as we're going through. So there's many types. There's 6 of them. how do you take information in? And how are you sending out information? Really understanding that. Are we just sending how we learn? And we're like, let's say I I do it kinesthetically. I learn by kinesthetics. And so when I was reading my book this weekend and I take that information in kinesthetically and I feel it, now I'm teaching it by the feeling sensation. And do you feel what I'm talking about? Well, maybe you're not a feeling person. Maybe you're not that kinesthetic. Maybe you're more logical. So now I have to shift for you. I think that's another good LinkedIn Live one day is the 6 intelligent types. Um, Next, hi Jim. When is a time you've had difficulty coaching someone? Well, when someone doesn't want to be coached. Most people don't want to be coached, right? They like repeating their past and just keeping right where they've always been. In some cases, that works, but being able to be coachable allows a new world, a new opportunity. Remember, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So in general, some general tips for coaching. I want to really hit you guys up with these before we end. I also wanted to provide some quick tips for all of you that are coaching currently. See, set large goals. Don't just bring someone in and tell them that their next task is X, right? And then send them on their way. You see, you want to make sure that they know the reasoning for each and every activity that they're actually doing. Set time aside for them to actually be coached. It needs to be its own event. You can't just pop in, drop some words off, and give them your wisdom and be out. No. Next is listen. You need to really listen. Make sure that you're having an actual conversation. This is one of the biggest differences between teaching and coaching. See, find enjoyment in coaching and teaching. You are not going to be able to coach well if you do not get any joy out of it, right? I always look at how am I taking them somewhere where they've never been before? What's that process? And sometimes, yeah, it's mundane. I'm doing the same. I'm teaching you something that I've been doing for 10 years, and it's a transferring of knowledge. It's seeing someone grow from that. See, people really matter, and you're filling their cup up. See, it takes more than just being a successful business person. It's being a good coach. If used in the right situation at the right time, workplace coaching makes the life of a manager easier. So as I wrap this all up, no more questions, which is great. I just want to just conclude by saying, know that if you are coaching, you need to adjust to become the best coach given any circumstance. Be with anything. Be with everything. I find when I get to nothing, I have everything. It's all about who you're being. And who you be allows other people to be. It really does. And it's something that you can really knock someone down or you can really build them up. The importance of coaching in leadership cannot be understated. Leaders of today's workforce need to be more than coaches instead of just merely authoritative figures. We need to be engaging in employees, in productivity of coaching, being really productive with our coaching, and being productive with the discussions and the professional development activities is key to influencing, motivating, recognizing those who will contribute and collaborate with their leaders to the benefit of the entire organization. While you're on your vision, your mission, your objectives and goals and strategy and tactics that you're using to grow your organization, we can focus on the bottom line targets, and the results is critical. But leaders cannot overlook the fact that results are best achieved through developing people. Have a great time out there developing your people, being with your people. And I say being with a capital B. How are you being today? Are you able to be with anything and everything at the same time? Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you have a blessed week. Thank you again, and see you next time.